Hi, I'm Geneva Long, CEO of Bowlus. Are you dreaming about the wildest road trip in North America? The one that stands above all others? Then check out the Dempster Highway. It's a rugged, adventurous journey to the true, untouched Arctic. While you might be familiar with the conveniences of the Alaska Highway, with its mostly paved corridors through dense boreal forests, the Dempster is a challenging drive that crosses the Arctic Circle into the harsh, treeless tundra and mountain ranges. It is really something everyone should experience. The Dempster Highway is a 460-mile gravel road that runs from Dawson City in the Yukon to the Arctic Ocean in Tuktoyaktuk. Unlike most highways, this one is carved straight into the wilderness. You cross two mountain ranges, you drive across vast tundra that stretches to the horizon, you pass the Arctic Circle, and eventually you reach the Arctic Ocean itself. There are ferry crossings over massive rivers. You'll see caribou migrating across the landscape, golden eagles overhead, and maybe even a grizzly in the distance, or even up close. And depending on the time of year, you're either camping under the midnight sun or watching the northern lights dance across the sky. But what makes the Dempster magical isn't just the scenery, it's the silence. There are no fast food stops, no billboards. Most of the time, no cell signal. Sometimes you'll drive for an hour and see no one at all. It's one of the last places in North America where the road itself is an expedition. And for me, this road has always been personal. When I was a kid, my parents took me on this trip in a vintage streamlined Tatra. We drove the entire Dempster Highway in that car. It was loud, dusty, and completely unforgettable. Tatras of that era were remarkable machines. They were something of the earliest aerodynamic car ever built, designed by engineers who were thinking about airflow and efficiency decades before it became mainstream, much like the Bowlus. Driving something like that across the Arctic was an epic expedition. That trip clearly influenced my subconscious, so it makes complete sense that I eventually brought back the Bowlus. The original Bowlus was also built in that same streamlined design era, using aircraft construction and aerodynamic thinking that were far ahead of their time. Doing the Dempster Highway in a Bowlus brings the whole experience full circle. Because when you bring a Bowlus into a place like this, you bring your sanctuary with you. The Dempster has almost no infrastructure. There is only one motel on the entire road. Most campgrounds have no hookups at all, but that's exactly where the Bowlus shines. With the Bowlus lithium power system, solar recharging, and large fresh and gray water capacities, you can comfortably stay off-grid for weeks. Heated floors keep the cabin warm even during cold Arctic nights. The real bathroom, chef-worthy kitchen, and hotel-level bed mean you're not just surviving out here, you're living well. And because a Bowlus is incredibly light and stable to tow, the long gravel stretches of the Dempster feel calm and controlled instead of stressful. This is exactly the kind of road the Bowlus Adventure Package was built for. With reinforced monocoque design, all-terrain tires, and the strength of the riveted monocoque aluminum shell. The same aircraft-inspired construction that made the original Bowlus famous over 90 years ago. The Dempster isn't just a road, it's a journey into the soul of the North. And with a Bowlus, it becomes one of the most unforgettable road trips you can take. This itinerary works best as a 7 to 10 day round trip. July and August are the best months to travel, and it's always smart to build in an extra time for delays. Weather and road conditions in the Arctic can change quickly. We hit a wild snowstorm in mid-August. Day one begins in Dawson City. From Dawson, you'll drive about 44 miles to Tombstone Mountain Campground. Dawson City itself is full of fun things to do, like panning for gold. Tombstone Territory Park is one of the most spectacular landscapes in the Yukon. Jagged black peaks rise straight out of the tundra, and the views are incredible. There are excellent hiking trails, frequent wildlife sightings, and a wonderful center that explains the geology and ecology of the region. Depending on the time of year, you may be watching the midnight sun skim along the horizon or seeing the first hints of the northern lights. Day 2 or 3 take you deeper into the mountains. Drive about 98 miles farther up the Dempster to Engineer Creek Campground. This is a small, quiet campground surrounded by rolling tundra and wide open sky. It's a great place to slow down, go for a hike, watch for caribou, and enjoy the feeling of being truly remote. With a Bowlus, this is where off-grid capability really matters. No hookups, no infrastructure, just wilderness. Day 4 brings you to Eagle Plains, about 140 miles from Engineer Creek. Eagle Plains is the only full-service stop on the entire highway. There's a small motel, a restaurant, fuel, and water. The RV parking area doesn't have hookups, but after several days on the road, it's a great place to refuel and reset. Just north of Eagle Plains, you'll also cross the Arctic Circle. There's a small sign marking the spot, and it's a classic photo moment. Day 5 is one of the most memorable stretches of the trip. From Eagle Plains, you'll drive about 229 miles to Inuvik. Along the way, you'll take 2 ferry crossings. The first is the Peel River Ferry, a cable ferry that runs on demand during the day. Farther north, you'll cross the Mackenzie River on a propeller ferry that typically runs every hour. Both crossings feel like stepping into another era of travel. Once you arrive in Inuvik, camp at Jack Territorial Park or find a quiet, dispersed spot near the Mackenzie River. Inuvik is the largest community in the Western Arctic. It's a great place to see Inuit art, visit the community center, and explore the surrounding delta landscape. Days 6 and 7 take you to the final destination. From Inuvik, it's about 91 miles to Tuktoyaktuk. The road extension only opened in 2017, and it's the first time that you can drive all the way to the Arctic Ocean. We flew there back in the day, and I'd still recommend it. Seeing the stillness of the north will make you appreciate the journey even more. Camp at the Point Campground right on the shoreline. Walk the beach, meet residents, and take a moment to reflect on the journey. Park close to the water for the ultimate end of the road photo, dipping the tire into the Arctic Ocean. For the return trip, plan 2 or 3 days heading back south. You can repeat your favorite camps or try new ones like Rock River Campground or a dispersed site near the North Fork Pass. When you return to Dawson City, it's worth spending a night there before continuing. The town has incredible gold rush history, good restaurants, and a few campgrounds where reservations are recommended. A few travel tips if you're driving the Dempster in a Bowlus. First, fuel up whenever you can. Fuel is only available in Dawson City, Eagle Plains, Inuvik, and Tuktoyaktuk. Carry at least 1 full-size spare tire and a repair kit. The Dempster is known for sharp shale on the road surfaces. However, if you respect the posted speed limits, you'll be unlikely to have problems. Refill water whenever possible. While the Bowlus tank capacity and efficient systems make long off-grid stays easy, it's always wonderful to have extra on hand. And don't forget those energy bars for yourself and others. We handed out dozens to cyclists who were having a moment on the Dempster. Solar charging works extremely well this far north in the summer because the sun can stay up for 20 hours a day. And expect very little cell service along the highway. Many travelers now bring Starlink, which pairs perfectly with the off-grid capabilities of the Bowlus. The Dempster Highway is one of the last truly remote road journeys in North America. It's wild, rugged, and unbelievably beautiful. With a Bowlus, you don't just visit the Arctic, you bring comfort, capability, and quiet luxury with you the entire way. And that makes the journey even more extraordinary. From a streamlined Tatra to the world's most aerodynamic Bowlus nearly a century later, some adventures are simply meant to come full circle. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more Bowlus content.